Picture this for a moment. You step outside onto your patio, balcony, or backyard garden early in the morning, and waiting for you is a blueberry bush growing beautifully in a container, covered with deep blue fruit. The berries glisten in the sunlight like little gemstones. The leaves are glossy and healthy, the branches are full and vibrant, and the entire plant looks almost unreal, like something taken straight from a professional gardening magazine. And naturally, one thought appears almost immediately. Why doesn't everyone grow blueberries this successfully? Why do so many blueberry plants struggle, stop producing, or die before giving even a handful of fruit? The truth is simpler than most people realize. Blueberries are not necessarily difficult plants to grow, but they are extremely particular about their conditions. A poor soil mix can weaken them quickly. The wrong container limits root growth. Improper fertilizer damages the plant instead of helping it. Too much water can cause root rot, while too little can stunt growth and reduce fruit production. In this complete guide, you'll discover exactly how to grow healthy, productive blueberries in containers step by step, including 5 of the best blueberry varieties for pots and small space gardening. If you've struggled with blueberries before, or simply want baskets of sweet, juicy berries growing right outside your door, this guide will help you avoid the mistakes that ruin most plants before they ever reach their full potential. 1. Picking the best blueberry variety. One of the most common mistakes beginners make is assuming every blueberry plant grows the same way. At first glance, they all seem similar. So many gardeners simply buy whichever plant they find first without realizing how important variety selection actually is. But blueberries are very different from one another. Some varieties grow too large for containers. Others require long, freezing winters to produce fruit properly. Certain types struggle in warm climates, while some dislike restricted root space and quickly become stressed in pots. Choosing the wrong variety is one of the fastest ways to end up with weak plants and disappointing harvests. Fortunately, several blueberry varieties perform exceptionally well in containers. These plants stay more compact, adapt better to limited root space, and still produce generous harvests, even on patios, balconies, or small backyard gardens. Here are 5 outstanding blueberry varieties that are especially suited for container gardening. Plant number 1, Top Hat. If there's one blueberry variety almost perfectly designed for containers, it's Top Hat. This dwarf blueberry naturally stays small and compact, usually reaching only 18 to 24 inches tall, making it ideal for decorative pots in limited spaces. Despite its small size, it produces impressively sweet berries and reliable harvests year after year. Its tidy, rounded shape gives it strong ornamental value, so it looks attractive even when it isn't fruiting. It also handles windy balconies, fluctuating temperatures, and confined root systems much better than many larger blueberry varieties. Another huge advantage is its flexibility with sunlight. While blueberries generally prefer full sun, Top Hat tolerates partial sunlight better than most, which makes it a fantastic option for patios and urban balconies that don't receive perfect lighting all day long. Because it's easy to manage, compact, and dependable, many gardeners consider Top Hat one of the best beginner-friendly blueberries available. Plant number 2, Sunshine Blue. Sunshine Blue has become incredibly popular because of its ability to adapt to warmer climates where traditional blueberries often struggle. This variety is semi-evergreen, meaning it can keep much of its foliage throughout the year in mild conditions, giving it year-round beauty in addition to fruit production. In spring, it also produces delicate pink blossoms that make the plant highly ornamental before berries even begin forming. Unlike many blueberries that require long, cold winters, Sunshine Blue needs fewer chilling hours, making it ideal for gardeners in warmer regions. It also handles heat much better than most other blueberry types. The plant stays compact enough for medium-sized containers, usually thriving in pots around 7 to 10 gallons. Another unusual benefit is its ability to tolerate slightly higher soil pH levels compared to most blueberries, which are famously picky about acidity. For gardeners living in areas with mild winters or hot summers, Sunshine Blue is often one of the safest and most productive choices. Plant number 3, Blue Crop. When it comes to productivity, Blue Crop has earned a reputation as one of the most reliable blueberry varieties ever developed. This plant produces large, firm berries and consistently delivers heavy harvests season after season. The fruit often grows in long clusters similar to commercial blueberry farms, making the plant look incredibly impressive once fully loaded with berries. Blue crop also has a strong upright growth habit that gives containers a fuller, more structured appearance. If your main goal is maximizing fruit production from a single plant, this variety is hard to beat. However, because it grows larger than compact dwarf types, it performs best in bigger containers, ideally around 10 to 15 gallons, where its root system has enough room to fully develop. With proper care, blue crop can reward gardeners with abundant harvests for many years. Plant Narxa 4, Patriot. For gardeners dealing with cold winters, Patriot is one of the toughest and most dependable blueberry varieties available. This plant is exceptionally cold hardy and can survive temperatures as low as 30 to 20 Sebaster, making it ideal for northern climates where many other blueberries struggle. In addition to its cold tolerance, Patriot produces large, flavorful berries and adapts surprisingly well to variable moisture conditions and heavier soils. Another reason gardeners love this variety is its combination of productivity and ornamental beauty. Healthy foliage, attractive growth, and reliable fruit production make it both practical and visually appealing in container gardens. If you've lost blueberry plants during winter in the past, Patriot may finally give you the long-term success you've been looking for. Plant number 5, Jelly Bean. Jelly Bean stands out because it combines strong ornamental beauty with excellent fruit production in an extremely compact form. The plant grows in a neat rounded shape that works beautifully in decorative containers, patios, and balconies. Its berries are known for their especially sweet flavor, often described as candy-like compared to traditional blueberries. The colorful foliage also gives the plant extra visual appeal throughout the growing season, making it attractive even when fruit production slows down. Because of its smaller size, Jelly Bean is especially popular among urban gardeners who want productive edible plants without sacrificing aesthetics or taking up too much space. Why variety selection matters. So much blueberry plants can live for a very long time. With proper care, container-grown blueberries may continue producing fruit for 10 to 20 years or even longer. But success begins with choosing the right variety from the very beginning. When gardeners select a blueberry suited for their climate and growing conditions, everything becomes easier. Plants grow stronger and healthier. Harvests become larger and more reliable. Disease resistance improves. Stress tolerance increases. Maintenance becomes simpler. Fruiting becomes far more predictable. That first decision affects everything that happens afterward. Choosing the right variety creates the foundation for healthy plants, beautiful growth, and years of sweet blueberry harvests. 2. Why blueberries? Often grow better in containers than in the ground. Most gardeners assume planting fruit bushes directly into the ground is always the best approach. More soil, more space, and a more natural environment seem like obvious advantages. But blueberries are different from many other fruit plants. In fact, growing them in containers frequently produces healthier plants and better harvests than growing them in traditional garden soil. Here's why container-grown blueberries often outperform those planted directly in the ground. 1. You can fully control soil. Acidity blueberries are extremely acid-loving plants. To stay healthy, they require soil with a pH between roughly 4.5 and 5.5. Unfortunately, most backyard soil is far less acidic and usually falls somewhere around 6.5 to 7.5. Trying to permanently change the pH of garden soil can become frustrating, expensive, and inconsistent. Even when gardeners successfully lower the pH temporarily, the soil often slowly shifts back over time. Containers solve this problem completely. Instead of fighting your natural soil conditions, you create the perfect growing environment from the beginning. The acidity stays far more stable, giving blueberry roots exactly what they need to absorb nutrients efficiently and remain healthy long-term. 2. Moisture levels become easier to manage. Blueberry roots are shallow, delicate, and sensitive to moisture extremes. They dislike completely dry conditions, but they also suffer quickly in soggy soil. In the ground, moisture levels can vary dramatically depending on weather and soil composition. Some soils drain too quickly, while others stay wet for too long. Containers give you much greater precision. You can create a growing mix that holds enough moisture for the plant while still draining excess water efficiently. This balance helps protect the roots from both drought stress and dangerous root rot. 3. Drainage improves. Dramatically proper drainage is one of the most important factors in successful blueberry growing. Heavy clay soil or compacted garden beds can trap water around the roots, leading to disease and decline. Blueberries hate sitting in waterlogged conditions. With containers, you control drainage completely. You can use loose, airy soil mixes designed specifically for acid-loving plants and ensure excess water flows away freely instead of collecting around the roots. This creates a much healthier root environment year-round. 4. Containers give you mobility. One of the biggest benefits of growing blueberries in pots is flexibility. Because the plants are movable, you can easily adapt to changing weather conditions throughout the year. For example, you can move plants into stronger sunlight during cooler months, provide partial shade during intense summer heat, protect plants from severe storms or frost, bring containers into sheltered areas during winter. This ability to reposition plants greatly reduces stress and improves fruit production. 5. Earlier spring growth containers warm up faster than garden soil when temperatures begin rising in spring. That warmth activates the roots earlier, which often leads to earlier leaf growth, earlier flowering, and earlier fruit production. Many gardeners notice that container-grown blueberries begin developing sooner than plants growing directly in the ground. 6. Fewer soil-related problems. Plants growing directly in garden soil are exposed to a long list of potential problems, including soil-borne diseases, harmful fungi, root rot organisms, nematodes, aggressive weeds, underground insects and larvae, competition from nearby tree roots. Container soil is far cleaner and more controlled, dramatically reducing exposure to many of these issues. As a result, plants often remain healthier and live longer. 7. Easier pruning and maintenance. Blueberries grown in containers tend to stay more compact and manageable. This makes pruning much easier because branches remain accessible and growth stays more controlled. The limited root space naturally prevents excessive overgrowth, helping the plant maintain a healthier shape and stronger fruit production over time. 8. Better fruit quality. Surprisingly, many gardeners discover that blueberries grown in containers often produce sweeter, larger, and more flavorful fruit than plants in the ground. Several factors contribute to this improvement. More consistent watering, better nutrient control, reduced stress on the plant, warmer root systems, improved sunlight positioning. Together, these conditions help the berries develop better flavor and overall quality. 9. Perfect for small spaces. One of the best things about container gardening is that you don't need a large backyard to grow fruit successfully. Blueberries can thrive in balconies, patios, rooftops, courtyards, walkways, small urban spaces. Even gardeners with limited room can enjoy fresh, homegrown berries. 10. Total environmental control. Blueberries are famous for being picky plants, but containers allow you to control nearly every important growing condition, including soil composition, acidity levels, water balance, sun exposure, fertilization, temperature protection, winter care, pest management. That level of control eliminates many of the problems that cause blueberry plants to struggle or fail. This is why many gardeners who fail repeatedly with in-ground blueberries suddenly achieve incredible results once they switch to containers. 3. The soil mix can make or break your blueberries. Many gardeners believe choosing the right blueberry variety is the hardest part. In reality, the soil mix is often the true deciding factor between success and failure. You can buy a healthy plant, use a beautiful container, water regularly, and still watch the plant slowly decline if the soil isn't correct. Blueberries naturally grow in loose, acidic forest soil rich in organic matter. Their roots are extremely fine and delicate, which means the growing mix must stay airy, light, and acidic at all times. The ideal pH range remains between 4.5 and 5.5. If the soil becomes too alkaline, the roots lose their ability to absorb nutrients properly, even if fertilizer is present. Common soil mistakes. Several common mistakes destroy container blueberries surprisingly quickly. Regular potting soil is usually too alkaline and often too dense for healthy blueberry roots. Pure compost holds excessive moisture, which can suffocate roots and encourage disease. Garden soil is usually the worst choice because it becomes compacted in containers, and may contain pests, weeds, fungi, or disease organisms. A proven blueberry soil mix. The goal is to recreate the loose, acidic conditions blueberries naturally prefer in forest environments. A highly effective mix used by experienced growers includes 50% pine bark fines, 30% peat moss, 20% perlite. Why this mix works. Pine bark fines provide structure, improve airflow, encourage drainage, and help maintain acidity while preventing soil compaction. Peat moss naturally lowers pH while holding moisture evenly without becoming overly soggy. Perlite keeps the mixture light and breathable, preventing roots from suffocating or rotting. Together, these ingredients create the ideal balance of moisture retention, drainage, airflow, and acidity. If pine bark fines aren't available, several alternatives can still work well. Crushed pine mulch broken into smaller pieces, coconut coir combined with peat moss, soil blends designed for azaleas or rhododendrons. Since those plants also prefer acidic conditions, their mixes often perform well for blueberries too. Important soil tips. Blueberry roots are extremely delicate and struggle in dense soil, so keeping the mix loose is critical. Avoid compressing the soil tightly when filling containers. The roots need room to breathe and expand naturally. Always test soil pH before planting. If the pH is too high, peat moss or elemental sulfur can help lower it. If the soil ever feels too heavy or compacted, improve it with extra pine bark or perlite. After choosing the correct blueberry variety, creating the right soil mix becomes the single most important step for growing healthy plants with vibrant foliage and heavy harvests for years to come. 4. Selecting the ideal container for blueberries. After preparing the proper soil mix, the next major step is choosing the right container. Many gardeners underestimate how important pot size really is. Blueberry bushes may look fairly compact above the soil, but below the surface their root systems expand actively and need enough room to develop properly. If the container is too small, the roots quickly become restricted. Growth slows down, fruit production decreases, and the entire plant becomes stressed, even if the soil, sunlight, and watering are otherwise perfect. Recommended pot sizes for different varieties. The best container size depends largely on the blueberry variety you're growing. Compact dwarf varieties such as Top Hat or Jelly Bean usually grow very well in containers around 3 to 5 gallons because they naturally remain smaller and more manageable. Medium-sized varieties like Sunshine Blue benefit from containers around 7 to 10 gallons, giving the roots enough space for steady development and reliable fruit production. Larger high-bush varieties, including Blue Crop and Patriot, require significantly more room. Containers between 10 to 15 gallons are usually ideal for supporting healthy growth and heavy harvests. One simple rule applies almost every time. Larger containers generally produce stronger plants and better harvests. More root space allows the plant to absorb water and nutrients more efficiently while reducing stress during hot weather. Choosing the best container material. Different pot materials each have their own advantages. Fabric grow bags provide excellent airflow and naturally prune roots before they begin circling, helping create a healthier root system overall. Plastic containers are lightweight, easy to move, and hold moisture well, which can be especially useful during hot summer periods. Terracotta and ceramic pots offer good breathability and stability, although they tend to dry out faster than plastic. Wooden planters help insulate the roots, keeping them cooler during summer and slightly warmer during winter. Containers that cause problems. Some container types are far less suitable for blueberries. Metal containers heat up rapidly in direct sunlight and can easily overheat the roots, causing serious stress or damage. Tiny nursery pots are acceptable temporarily, but plants should not remain in them long term. Restricted root systems quickly lead to weak growth and lower fruit production. Extra tips for better container success. Always make sure the pot has several drainage holes. Blueberries absolutely dislike soggy roots and standing water. A thin drainage layer made from gravel, perlite, or broken clay pieces at the bottom of the container can further improve airflow and drainage. Using rolling plant stands or movable bases can also make it much easier to reposition containers throughout the season when weather conditions change. And when filling the pot, avoid pressing the soil down tightly. Blueberry roots prefer loose, airy conditions where they can expand naturally. Why container size matters. So much the correct container allows roots to spread freely, water and nutrients to distribute evenly, Stronger long-term plant health, better support for heavy fruit production, more consistent growth year after year. Ignoring this step often leads to stunted plants, yellowing foliage, reduced harvests, and unnecessary stress. Even the perfect blueberry variety and ideal soil mix won't fully compensate for a container that's too small. 5. Watering blueberries. Properly. Watering may seem simple, but it's actually one of the most common reasons blueberry plants fail in containers. Blueberries have shallow, fibrous roots that are highly sensitive to moisture extremes. They naturally grow in forest environments where the soil remains consistently moist, but never soaked. That balance is incredibly important. What happens when blueberries dry out? If the soil becomes completely dry, the roots begin losing moisture rapidly. Soon after, the leaves may wilt, flowers can drop, and the plant becomes stressed. Even if the problem is corrected quickly, the plant may still need significant recovery time, and fruit production for the season can suffer dramatically. What happens with too much water? Excessive watering creates an entirely different problem. When the soil stays overly wet, oxygen levels around the roots drop sharply. This creates ideal conditions for fungal diseases, especially root rot. Once root rot develops, blueberry plants can decline surprisingly fast, and severe damage is often difficult to reverse. The goal: even, balanced moisture. The ideal blueberry soil should feel similar to a damp sponge that has already been squeezed out. Moist, but never dripping wet. This closely matches the conditions blueberries naturally prefer in the wild. A simple watering method. A very easy way to check moisture is by placing your finger roughly 2 inches into the soil. If the soil feels dry, water thoroughly. If it still feels slightly damp, wait another day or two before checking again. When watering, do it slowly and deeply until water begins draining from the bottom of the container. This ensures moisture reaches the entire root zone instead of remaining near the surface. Shallow watering should be avoided because it encourages weak surface roots that dry out quickly during hot weather. The best water for blueberries. Water quality also matters more than many gardeners realize. Rainwater is usually the best option because it is naturally soft and slightly acidic, which helps maintain the proper soil pH. Tap water can contain minerals, chlorine, and other substances that gradually raise soil pH over time. If tap water is your only option, you can improve it by letting it sit for 24 hours before use so chlorine can dissipate. Using filtered water when possible to reduce mineral buildup. Additional watering tips. If using drip trays beneath containers, never allow water to remain standing for long periods. Sitting water can suffocate the roots. Adding mulch such as pine bark, pine needles, or wood chips on top of the soil helps preserve moisture while still allowing airflow. And during intense summer heat, container soil dries out much faster than garden soil. In very hot conditions, moisture may need to be checked once or even twice daily to prevent stress. With proper watering habits, blueberry plants remain healthier, produce stronger growth, and reward you with larger, sweeter harvests year after year.